All right. Hello. Hopefully, some people join me very, very soon. I didn't get this reminder out ahead of time, but I did tell some people through private Facebook message that I was going to be going a little bit late. I'm going to wait a minute for people to jump on. I hope people see I didn't have a link ahead. Anyways, I will ask all the normal questions, especially if somebody's watching this later. How was your booking frenzy? How were your classes today? How was your weekend? And so I am going to talk about assessments today. Hello. Hi, Morgan. 5 minutes till Build-A-Bear with my 2-year-old. Oh, have fun. I miss when my kids were little. Of course, there's things that I don't miss, but there's things that I do. Yeah, and like treasure those times. My son is now 12 and he ignores me half the time. So hi Kim. I'm glad everybody's seeing this. Yeah, like sometimes when your kids are little, Morgan, it can be overwhelming. Sometimes you just want time to yourself, but you'll miss it one day when they are preteens or teenagers and they just want to stay in the room and barely uh, acknowledge your existence. So have fun with your 2-year-old at Build-A-Bear. Um, Kim, Morgan, how were your classes? How was your weekend? How was the frenzy? I actually woke up a half hour earlier today off a priority booking request. I was like, okay, I could do a half hour. I was fully booked today, you guys. I don't know why it happens the way on always on Mondays, the day I happen to go live, are the days that I'm fully booked. Then, like on Tuesday, I usually have holes in my schedule when I'm not going live. It just works out that way. I'm not saying I want to switch. Yeah. All right. You have an awesome day too, Morgan. Have fun. Oh, or were you saying it was an awesome day with classes? Great bookings. Oh, good. Tell me how the frenzy went. Good classes. Okay, weekend. Rough frenzy. Oh no, Kim, what happened? My frenzy was okay too. I got up and it was like almost 40, but then I got a few more bookings like in the late morning after, the 8 hours. So I'm sure it was in the 40s total if I count everything. Hi, Marianne. Sorry I had to go a little late today, you guys. My daughter needed to be at school early. Like, I needed to leave like 20 minutes after classes were over. So it was no use trying to go live. And now, well, I shouldn't stay on too long because I got a lot going on, but I don't have to like rush off whether I'm done speaking or not. Frenzy was half cancellations, half bookings. Oh no. Did anyone get a lot of like feedback? I'm wondering if VIP Kids running a promotion because I got 5 feedbacks. And one of them is from like my long, long, long time regular, my first regular ever. They rarely leave me feedback. One of those regulars that like I can count on one hand how many times this kid's parents have left me feedback, and I've had him for a year. And I suddenly got 4 feedbacks from him. So are they running a promotion? Does anyone know? Thank you for the 1 like. If the rest of you could like it too, that would be wonderful. You got 7 feedbacks this morning, Marianne. Yeah, I am wondering if VIP Kid's running a promotion. So you need feedback. Oh, maybe you'll get it, Kim. Yeah, so my weekend was busy as usual. I took Saturday off from classes. So did I get to sleep in? No, I woke up at 4, just as if I was teaching classes. My son had a soccer game 2 hours away. The next state over in Maryland. Yeah, so it was a very busy weekend. I missed his game on Sunday because of miscommunication between my husband and I. Yeah, but I did get some cleaning done instead. So there's that. um, and Yesterday, I woke up an hour early to start classes early at GoGoKid. I had a trial. I'll come back to that in a minute. Um, my classes were so today, you guys. I'll tell you why in a minute. Like, nothing horribly bad happened, but there were reasons it wasn't good either. Yeah. So I did want to say one thing about the GoGoKid trials for those who do work at GoGoKid. I know not everybody does, so I'll be quick. But one thing, if from the weekly report. Kim, I know you were at my last live where I was talking about the weekly report about how people were getting marked down because the trials were too hard, or they'd switch the level to like a harder level. And GoGoKid's doing like evaluations. So people were getting bad marks on their evaluations because the trials were too hard. And once you switch the level, you can't switch back. Like unlike VIPKid, you could just keep switching all you want. You could switch levels 3 or 4 times. You have like one chance at GoGoKid, and that's it. So I knew that, and I was nervous because I had seen that in the weekly report. So I texted Danny, and she was like, she told me to read in the GoGoKid's version of the Hutong, which is on Fresh Desk. People had advice, and I never did get to read it. But one thing she said was it's better to go lower than higher. So I was thinking, even if I thought the class was too easy, that I was just going to stay on level. And I read the directions, like when should you switch levels? Well, I get in the trial, and it was like clear as day, not even like a question mark in my head, like clear as day. The trial was way too hard. So I did switch levels. I was a little disappointed because I had my props ready. Like I even had here, I don't even have, where'd it go? I don't have a peach. I have lots of fruit, but I don't have a peach. So I even printed a peach out. I'd gotten a lemon. The trial is like lemon and peaches. But it was like clear as day this trial was going to be too hard for the girl. So I had to switch it to It Is Red, which ended up being the perfect level for her. Luckily, like all I need are like my colors, which were easy to grab. But anyways, yeah, my advice is if you do the GoGoKid trials, just either stay on level if you think it's too hard, or if you need to go lower, go lower. My classes today were so, like I said, nothing horrible happened, but I had some assessments. All the assessments that I had were like kids that were struggling. And I do get booked with struggling kids. I get tagged for patient a lot, so I work with them, but it's so hard when you have an assessment. I know a lot of teachers say they love assessments. They wish their whole schedule was filled with assessments. I have mixed feelings. Sometimes I love assessments. I don't love assessments when I have a struggling student and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to grade them, or when I have to give them a lower grade. I am fair. Actually, Cindy did her live was about assessments on Saturday. And I'm just going to discuss assessments here. I'm not here to give you advice, but she gave some advice, which actually I took one of her advice that she gave on Sunday. She suggested, like, if your student was close to getting the right answer, to go back later and then see if the next time they'll get the right answer. And I did that on Sunday. I had a student that had an almost perfect score. I had to give her 1 point. So I went back later and I was able to give her. But when you have kids who are really, really struggling, it's like, how do you grade them? Kim says, I like assessments, but I hated rating Harvey low today. Okay. Speaking of, the rest of you want to tell me about your frenzy and your weekend. I am going to get up. Okay, so I have an email from one of my viewers, Kim in North Carolina. This is her question of the day. It is, she says, I have a level 2 Unit 5 student who still mostly repeats. He just finished this unit and only got about half credit on his assessment because he didn't speak in complete sentences, and I had to guide him on a lot. I think he knows more than he lets on. Advice? Question mark. In your live, he's one of my favorites, and I'm taking him through level 1 already. He is 6. Okay, so the reason I decided to read this is because I have the same question, Kim. Hammy is the student's name. Okay. All right, sorry, I'm reading on a little screen. And yeah, I had the exact same thing today. I have a level 2 student. She's a semi-new regular. Do you guys love the new feature on the app where we can see who's following us? I love that. So this is like someone who was new when we first figured out we could followers. I'm looking through my followers, and this was someone that surprised me, somebody that was new. I had her first in a phonics class, and all the teacher to teacher feedback was like, oh, she struggles, she should go down a level. I've suggested it. So I got her in a phonics class, and then my teacher to teacher feedback back was like, I think phonics classes sound perfect for her. You know, so she struggles, she repeats a lot, which is fine, but how do I assess her? Same thing. Today we had an assessment. Um yeah, I tried to read the rubric because like I don't teach as many level 2s. So it was things like, do you grade them on if they can say the sentence structure? They don't necessarily have to read, but like she couldn't even say the sentence structure. I don't want to give kids bad grades, but then I'm like, fair too. And I'm one of the people that gives just all excellence as long as they're trying, that's what I give them. So I don't know. So I'm asking you guys. That was Kim's question. It's also my question. What do you think for like level 2? How would you assess a kid who's still repeating? And also for me, when I got to blending of words, same thing. She has blended words well. I had to kind of walk her through it. She could do it, but I really had to walk her through it. So I'm thinking for that one, like I had to like spell out each word, giving her a 1 teacher assistance. But I don't know. I had a lot of kids who didn't have their projects, and I'm the type of teacher who goes back and we'll do it later if we have time, but some of the kids are struggling so bad we didn't have time. I have another boy, level 3. He's the type of student where like he struggles so much. The only way to get through the lesson in 25 minutes is to just have him read the red words. So literally I'll read, like maybe if we have a paragraph, I'll read, and then when I get to a red word, I circle it and he reads it. That's the only way. So I had to give him an assessment today. Yeah, I had a lot of assessments of kids that are struggling. Kim says he blew me away when he filled in correct answers on the screen, so he knows that he just won't talk except to repeat. I don't know. Do you have him? You said you have him a lot. Do you think he knows? Because if they actually know, I might give them full credit. And what do you guys think? I think there's advantages and disadvantages of doing assessments with a regular teacher. A 31 class. Oh, you've had 31 classes with him. All right. What about you, Marianne? You've been teaching a long time. What do you have advice about this assessments? So also today I have a long-time regular. She was my second regular ever. So I've been teaching her almost a year. She is one of those students flies through the lessons all the time. So we're on level 3, unit 12 now, which I'm excited. I hope she books me for her very last class. She had her assessment 1. And normally she gets like perfect score. She flies through it. She struggled. So for those who don't know, Unit 12, I love when you have a regular and you can see how it all comes together instead of like teaching a kid here in this part and that part. But Unit 12 kind of starts tying together all of level 3, like it reviews. So she had forgotten some things about animal parts. Actually, she had forgotten what, legs. It was a picture of animal legs. And I was even saying, we have 2 of them. I was literally like trying. I wanted her to get the answer right. Look, dogs have 4. What? And I waited a long time and she never said legs. So that was my day. Oh, and on top of that, another reason my classes were so. I take 30 minutes off to drive my son to school. I came back. I had to use my iPad. My iPad was a good backup. My camera wouldn't turn on. I don't have time to troubleshoot when you just need to start the class. And I ended up we lost a few minutes of class time. I went over with this kid. The next class, I had the same problem. But what I decided to do was to close the app, restart it. That solved the problem. I've also had problems with when I leave and come back, my computer won't start. So I'm going to start closing the app when I leave to take him to school and come back and hope that solves all these problems I'm having. My computer not turning back on, or suddenly my camera won't turn on. So Kim says, I think if he was with someone else for the assessment, I think he would have gotten a 0. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. One thing I should say, my regular, she was struggling with the long and short vowels. So I know from teaching, she has no problem with the long and short, but she didn't understand the question the way that it was presented in. Let me show you how it was done, because she knows her long and short vowels. So then I had to spell it out for her and she got it right. So that's the disadvantage. If like a new teacher had her, like if she was a new student, I would have just marked her, oh, she doesn't know her long and short vowels. She knows them and she can say them like that. But the assessment had like a fish, and it had the short vowel and a fish, and then had the E at the side of the fish. So she just didn't understand the directions. Again, the disadvantage if like a new teacher had her. All right, Marianne, I rate honestly, no project, 0 points unless we have time to go over it after the other questions are done. Same. Then if you have time to go over it when the questions are done, do you give full points? My thing is, like, I don't think it's fair that kids who don't bring it to class should get the same amount of points that kids that worked hard and brought it to class. So I will only give half points. They only get 1 for each one. The other day I had a girl, this was a level 4. The assessment was to show hobbies, and she took pictures of people doing hobbies. But the assignment was also that you were supposed to write something about it. She didn't write anything. So I gave her like 1 point for that. They get 1 point only. So out of the 2 that you can mark, you only give them 1 point. Do you just give them 1 point for the visual or the speaking, or you just choose one? Because I'll give them 2 points, but then I'll have kids who like can draw it, but they won't say anything. Then I'll only give them 1 point. Okay. All right. Marianne's hardcore. Don't you forget your project if she's your teacher. Although some teachers won't even give them a chance at the end. So, if I have to help them 1 point, I had a level 2 who earned 5 out of 16. Okay. So you're fair. All right. So I don't feel bad about being fair. But, I think if they're regular, I'll just say something in the feedback like, let's work together. I can help catch her or him up. Teachers, Kim said, yeah, I give half if they don't do it at home. He drew it with me, so I gave half. Okay. Yeah. All right. And, yeah, so, yeah, I just had that question about assessments. And then I definitely had like, I hope I don't get a teacher IT for those 2 classes, the first one especially. The second one, like, we got started, I stayed a little extra. Marianne, maybe you should treat them gingerly. Gingerly. And Marianne has the red hair, so she does gingerly all the time. All right. Yeah, Marianne and Kim, we are all going to journey together, if you guys haven't heard. I had something happen on Friday, so that's why I kind of was late to answer all of those emails going back and forth about the journey. Yeah, I found out some bad news, which I can't even talk about publicly. But if anyone is watching, if you know me, you can ask me about it privately, which kind of went from sadness and shock to like, let's do something about it. And then that kept me busy the rest of the day, and I'm still busy. All right. So the other thing I wanted to talk about, so with 6 of us, yeah, Marianne said, yay, DC, here we come. Yes. And Marianne's even staying a little longer. So we'll do some fun things. All right. So with 6 of us going live every single day, we kind of run out of things to talk about. Sometimes you can like beat a dead horse. So this is going to relate to all VIPKid teachers, no matter what, because this includes everybody. Yeah, thank you. I'll tell you about it later. The funny thing is, like, you can be in any category. So, the question, do people ask you how many kids do you have? So I'm in the category of people that doesn't get bothered. So it's funny that I'm the one bringing this up. But the reason I thought about bringing this up as a topic, because I saw a Facebook discussion. This was actually somebody who has a lot of kids. I think she has 5 or 6. I don't know. If Cindy's watching later, she's going to be like, that's not even half of what I have. That's nothing. But anyways, I guess she must get asked a lot, and I've seen people post, but No matter what, you get asked unless you're me or you're Kim or you're Danny. Then you don't get asked. We are in the category of people that don't get asked. So, how many kids do you have? All right. This was a Facebook meme and discussion. If you have 0 kids, people are going to ask you, when are you going to have a baby? If you have 1 kid, when are you going to have another one? If you have 1 girl and 1 boy, perfect, you're done. Nobody asks you. Nobody asks me. Kim, I'm guessing nobody asks you. Yeah, so if you have 2 boys, you need to try for a girl. If you have 2 girls, you need to try for a boy. If you have 3 kids, that was an accident, right? That's funny because, like, my parents had 3 kids. Like, I can still consider 3 like a normal amount. 2 or 3, I consider like normal. Not that nothing is normal, but you know what I mean. 4 kids, use some freaking birth control. That's rude if people say that, but I have heard that people do say stuff like that. And congratulations, Evelyn, who's about to have her 4th. 5 or more, you obviously want your own reality show freaks. Okay, yeah, that's rude. And I do like to watch reality shows of people with a lot of kids, only because, especially when I had little kids, sometimes you feel overwhelmed. It was just interesting to me to watch shows like, oh, I have 2 and I feel overwhelmed. Oh, look, they have, 19. I also used to love to watch Kate plus 8 because her sextuplets are the same age as my daughter. They're actually like 2 months older than her. So like she had like 6 babies. Well, I, had 2. I was watching it when, after my son was born. So I had 2 and she had 6. Yeah, yep, never asked. Yeah, Kim. I'm the youngest of 3 kids, Kim says. Yeah, people are so rude. Was the official Facebook page? Well, it wasn't a page. It was a meme. It was somebody posted. So this was a Facebook meme, and somebody posted it on their personal status. So this is someone with a lot of kids. She posted it a while ago, and that's why I didn't post like a reminder that I was going live. I was actually spending my time before I left to get my daughter looking for this, because I knew I wanted to talk about it. They are rude. Because also, people chimed into the discussion. And when you ask people these intrusive questions, you don't know what's going on in their life. So you ask someone, when are you going to have kids? Like there was a girl, and I'm friends with her. I know her from the elementary school. Her kid's a little younger than mine, but we know each other because we both volunteered a lot. She didn't have kids for a long time. She ended up adopting. Well, she was going through fertility issues. I'm not using her name, but she's pretty open about it. And she responded on the status of this. So it was literally like hurtful to her when people would ask, when are you going to have a baby? Like she wanted a baby more than anything. And then that was painful when people asked. And I mean, maybe somebody just doesn't want kids. Like maybe that's not their situation, but it doesn't really matter because that's none of your business, especially if you're a total stranger. Um, I'm the youngest of 7. Yeah, I'm sure you've gotten it. I've gotten lots of comments over the year. I'm sure your parents must have gotten a lot, right? I mean, it was probably more common in their generation to have more kids, but still not as many. Kim says, my cousin started with twins, but kid 4, she said they thought they had figured out how it happens. Yeah, that's really rude. I've heard of people say things like, do you know how to use birth control? How did that happen? Like people, that is rude if you say that to anybody, but I've heard of people like total strangers saying that to people in the grocery store or something. Yeah, and another rude thing, also, sometimes people have a child of a different race for whatever reason. Maybe they adopted or they're foster care. Maybe they had a baby with someone of a different race, and people ask in front of the child about the race. Like, that's rude. Like, public service announcement. It is rude if you do that. Yeah, my parents are Catholic. Okay, I get it. Yeah, I know how the Catholics feel about birth control. Kim, we joked with her she wanted 8, but she had 4 biological and 1 adopted. And also, at the very least, like she's your cousin, so she's someone close to you. Like I've heard, and then you can kind of feel the person out if they're okay. But like I've heard of total strangers, like in the grocery store, saying these kinds of things, and that's really rude, people. Also, you know what? sometimes in the workplace, you don't want to talk about this stuff. So we're at VIPKID. We're independent contractors. We're lucky. Like Evelyn doesn't have to worry about, I don't want to tell anyone I'm pregnant because, VIPKID might want to fire me or something. Like she can just take time off. But like when you're in the workplace, I know it's 2019, but don't tell me that you still don't get judged, even if people are not as outright about it. I remember when I had one child, okay, I had a miscarriage in between my two children. I had somebody ask me, when are you going to have another kid? I had just had a miscarriage. They didn't know that, but that's not your place or your business to ask me. And they asked me in the workplace. That is the last place I'm going to share with anyone, whether I'm having more kids or not. You don't want to tell people in the workplace, oh, I'm trying. Oh, she's temporary. We don't want to, yeah, we're not going to hire her, give her a promotion. And even though it's illegal to ask people, like, are you going to have a baby in a job interview? I was asked. I was asked one time. So I went through a period where I went in job interviews. I stopped wearing a ring and I would make sure not to talk about my kids or my husband. So it was hard though when I took time off to be a stay-at-home mom. And then I went back in the workplace. You can't avoid talking about them because you're going to get that question, why do you have this gap in your resume? So then you have to tell them I took time off for family, and then you just told them. I actually, when I was interviewed, I was like, hey, I'm not supposed to ask this, but you brought it up, and then asked about my kids. But it wasn't an intrusive question. It was just like, oh, I have kids too. I wanted to ask you about it. So yeah, let me see. Kim says, we joked with her. Okay, I already read that part. People are the same way if you homeschool. Oh, yeah, I get. There's a lot of judgment for homeschoolers. Yeah. Come on, guys. Can we just all be supportive of each other, whether our kids go to public school, private school, homeschool? It's that particular parent's choice. Just say, okay, yeah, I homeschooled temporarily out of necessity. Like I was one of those parents that I would never homeschool. And I honestly don't think I was that good at it. I use a computer program to help me, but I did it out of necessity. Never say never. Never. I said I would never homeschool, but my daughter was too sick. She was even too sick to do homebound. If anyone doesn't know what homebound is, like at least in our county and state, like if you are too sick to go to school and you get a doctor's note, they will send a teacher to the house. So we have done that too. I like that. But last year, she was like, then you have to find time to meet with this person. And when my daughter was last year, you never knew when she was going to feel bad. She felt bad, too bad to even meet with the person. She was even too sick to do homebound. I decided to do online school where she could do it at her own pace and do it when she's feeling well. And let's see, people are okay. Yeah, I got judged when I got pregnant with number 2. My mother-in-law did. Okay. All right. Well, I'm surprised because most people not about number 2. Is that because of the problems you and your husband were having or something? I don't know. If you want to share. If you don't, same with my father-in-law. Okay. Yeah, if you want to share more about that, you can, but I'm definitely not the type who's going to ask intrusive questions. That is the whole point of this. Don't ask intrusive questions, people, especially if you don't know someone. It's not your place. Yeah, so yeah, I'm surprised because most people don't ask if you're having like a second one. But yeah, definitely for homeschooling, I see that. And a lot of people don't understand homeschooling. And then I know, Kim, your kids are in their 20s. So I can imagine back when they were kids, it was even less known. Like at least now, a lot of people like homeschooling's becoming more accepted. So she had one kid and thinks everyone should only have one. We were better when we got pregnant. He moved out after I was pregnant. Okay. So it was like putting on you. Yeah. I want to be, I'm lucky. My grandmother, I think, was the best example of like a mother-in-law. She would tell me this too. She said, the way that I'm a good mother-in-law is I just mind my own business. With decisions like that, that's going to be, up to your kids. Like, of course, I want to have grandkids, but I'm not going to be like, when are you having them? When are you having them? When are you having them? And I've actually told my kids, like, I'll give my kids advice, but I told them it is better if you wait till you've gone to school and you've had a degree. Now, if my daughter comes to me at 16 and tells me she's pregnant, yeah, I'm going to be judgmental. I won't be able to hold back for that. That's a little different. But yeah, she had one kid. Okay, I already read that part. Hi, Heather Sandlin. We're talking about people's judgment about how many kids you have. I think, Heather Sandlin, that you have one boy and one girl. And if you do, you're in the category of people that doesn't get asked at all about your kids. One girl and a boy, perfect. You're done. All right, but everybody else gets asked. If you have no kids, if you have a lot of kids, if you have two girls, if you have two boys, you get asked. Yeah. So my sister, I'm going to share with you guys. She hasn't shared on Facebook, but it's not like any of my friends or family are watching online teaching YouTube. And I don't even tell all my friends and family about this channel because I want it to just be teachers. Yeah. You have two, right? And one girl and one boy. Okay. You don't get bothered. You think you have a boy first and then a girl, if I remember correctly from your Facebook page. All right. Yeah. So, I was going to say something. Yeah. Anyways, everybody else. Oh, my sister. She like never had kids. Didn't really want them for the longest time, but I think they changed their mind. She's supposed to be getting foster kids tonight. So I hope she does. You know, they have court today and then she will find out. She's allowed to tell people she got foster kids, but she can't tell you their names or anything about them or post pictures. But she is going from having no kids to having two boys, ages 5 and 9. That's going to be shocking, you guys. Imagine going from none to, oh my goodness, two boys. Yeah. 8 and a girl. Yeah. Just grandparents say we should have. Oh, well, the grandparents always want more. So we're actually talking about people, especially strangers, minding their own business. However many people decide to have is their own choice. Yeah. So since you just got here, Heather, I will say, how were your classes? How was your booking frenzy? I don't want to repeat everything I've said, but like go back and listen. Kim said my sister-in-law always said she didn't want kids, but she actually was having infertility. Oh, so it was kind of a cover. She didn't want to talk about it. Well, it's people's prerogative. Like people can be nosy and ask a lot of questions. So maybe she felt like too many people are going to ask. I mean, some people are open books and some are not. I consider myself somewhere in the middle, but I have found people with the open book personality sometimes expect everybody to be open books and they'll ask intrusive questions, which sometimes is uncomfortable. So maybe she did that so that, hey, I don't want to be asked about it. I don't want to talk about it. So I'm just going to tell people I don't want kids. But yeah, she has one daughter who's 6, I think. And you know what? I've heard of this happening. People have one kid and everything works great. And then after they have one kid, they start having fertility problems. I actually know a family who ended up adopting like 6 kids. They had one kid, had fertility issues. And then they started foster care and they brought in a family of 6 and ended up adopting 6 kids. So there's that too. Heather Sandlin, and Marianne, and just because you're married doesn't mean you have to or should have children. Exactly. Those are usually the people that get asked the most too. Yeah. And you know what? I've always wanted to have kids. I've always said I wanted to have kids. And even though I always wanted kids, it is harder than I thought it would be. So me personally, if you don't want kids, don't have kids. Don't have kids because people are pressuring you, because from someone who wanted kids, it's so much harder than I ever thought. So if you don't want kids, yeah, don't. Kim, Heather, everything I opened book, taking the weekend of the 27th off for a girls' weekend. Well, good for you, Heather. A girls' weekend. So are you going out of town or you're just going out with friends who live nearby? But that's wonderful. Us moms need that. Teacher Kim, no, the issues were before. She surprised us because we thought she didn't want them. She isn't having any more. Okay. Well, again, some people call it one and done. One kid. When are you going to have another? Some people just want one. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's up to you. I always wanted two. I come from a family of three. Because I come from a family of three, I wanted two. And my husband came from a family of two. But the reason I didn't want three is because me and my brother and sister we were squished in the back seat. There was always an odd number when we would get in fights. It was always two against one. So those were the reasons I wanted two, because of being from a family of three. I wanted four. Okay. And Heather says, I have a friend in Arizona and one in Oklahoma. We meet in Branson once a year. That is awesome. That's awesome that women need that to keep in touch. We get moms, we get busy, we don't have time for friends. And I'm excited for Kim and Marianne to come, and we're going to go to Journey together. So we'll have our own girls' weekend. I wanted to have 5, Marianne said. Okay. You guys, I got exactly what I wanted. I know you don't get to choose, and most people don't get exactly what they want. But I did. I wanted a girl and a boy, and specifically, I wanted my girl first. So I got exactly what I wanted that department. And just funny how life works, because a lot of people don't get what they want, and you don't get to choose. Marianne, how long are you staying with Kelly? Well, I'll let her answer, but I think she's staying like Friday to Monday, right, Marianne? Heather always wanted 8 kids. Then I had the first one and my mind changed quickly. Yeah, I get that. Pregnancy was not good to me. Oh, you didn't like the actual being pregnant part. Okay. I didn't mind pregnancy. I was lucky. I was one of the lucky few. I didn't have hard pregnancies. So that wasn't the issue. I just, didn't want a lot. Yeah, I feel like 2 is good. You have one husband, one wife, even number. I'm staying until Christmas. You'll get sick of me, Marianne. Yeah, so, yeah. JK, till Tuesday. Okay, that's fine. We could we go to DC Monday or something. That'll be fun. Yeah, so you guys, the reason I was on late today and had to drive my daughter to school, she is going to buy homecoming tickets. I'm very happy. Most people are happy when their daughters go to homecoming, or sometimes you're sad that they're growing up. But last year, she was too sick to go to homecoming, and it was painful to see the Facebook posts. You take for granted normal life, but you'd see the Facebook posts of the moms who had kids the same age as mine, like, oh, we're dress shopping. Oh, here's pictures of my daughter going to homecoming. And it was painful. It hurt to see those, because my daughter last year, I had to pull her out of school because she was too sick to go, and it was painful to see those Facebook posts. So I can't even tell you how happy I am that she's going to go next weekend. Like finally she's able to live life. She's getting her life back, and I can't even be like, when she hasn't been able to live life and now she's about to be able to, like, I can't even tell you how happy I am. I don't want to cry in my life. So yeah, very happy. So anyways, I'm running out. I think I've covered everything I'm going to talk about. I got to stay on for 40 minutes. I didn't have to cut it off, guys. So does anyone have any more to say about all the things I've been talking about? I'll wait like another minute if anyone else wants to talk about anything. Actually, I wrote down all the stuff I was going to talk about. Make sure. Yeah, I covered everything. So happy. Thank you, Heather. Yeah, it's good. Don't take for granted when your kids are healthy, when they go to school every day, when they go to sports. Yeah. You ever hear that expression, like, the one thing you're complaining about, someone else is praying for? And if someone's not religious, you could look at it as like what you're complaining about someone else wishes they had. Did you go dress shopping? Remember the wedding we went to a few weeks ago? So we needed a dress for that. So we kind of just went dress shopping all in one. We got a dress for homecoming and for the wedding all at the same time. We actually got 2 dresses, but now I think she wants to wear the one she wore to the wedding. And Kim, I know you like good deals. We found a dress on clearance at Forever 21 for $1, you guys. And it's a beautiful dress. It really looks like a homecoming dress. So we scored on that one. Yeah, exciting. Yeah, so sometimes it's hard when people are complaining about. I remember going to a Girl Scout meeting and people were complaining about, like, their how much their sports cost and how busy they were. And I was thinking, you know what I'm spending money on? It's not sports, it's medical bills. And, my daughter's not even well enough to play sports. And yeah, but these people didn't know what was going on in my life. And, I didn't want to get into it, but that's what I was thinking in my head. Online teacher dude, thank you for coming. I'm so glad you're here. I was just about to end things, but I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Um, yeah, I just saw your live stream. I saw it later. I commented on it if you saw it. Marianne said, "You never know what might happen in life. My niece has TB, traumatic brain injury. Her whole life is different now. I'm sorry. That's terrible. Yeah. Um, yeah. I know a family, their kids in their 20s now, but he got brutally attacked when he was in college. He got kicked in the head, and he's been living for the past 10 years, but not living basically in a coma. Yeah. So online teacher dude, I'm so glad that you're here. Tim is his name. Yes. He has such an interesting story. He has taught in China. He's like, you've been all over the world. Wow. He has such an interesting story. Then he got into online teaching. So he's actually taught English in China and then in a few other places too, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah. And I saw that Kim was there. I saw him talking to you. So yeah, he has a very, very interesting life. Wow. I wish I'd been to half the places you've been. Yeah, so Tim, we were talking about assessments and things like that today and booking frenzy and all that. And you can catch it later, and about people asking about how many kids you have. We were talking about all of those things today. So Tim, did your classes go well? And Tim is really good at recruiting. He has like a boot camp. Like if you ever do like a class, those of us teachers could learn your secrets. You could charge, and I'm sure people would, do it. I'm in Malaysia now, living unconventional life for sure. Do you do weekly lives? Yes, every Monday, usually at 10:30. Today I had to go a little later than usual. Usually every Monday after classes. So usually at 10:30, sometimes a little earlier, sometimes a little later. Yeah. So every single Monday, there's a whole group of us, if you don't know Tim, who do it every day. As you know, Danny used to do Wednesdays. So yeah. All right. Well, I've pretty much talked about everything I need to talk about. Next time, I hope to see you again next week, Tim, and all of you. Thanks for coming and how to do them. Well, yours, just talking about your life was interesting, Tim, just because you've been so many places and taught so many places. Wow, what a story. I'm tomorrow. Okay. Oh, yeah, Marianne is tomorrow, everybody. Marianne goes live usually 10:30, 9:30 Central. Yep. And Wednesday's open if anybody wants it. Danny temporarily can't go Wednesdays, so Kim or Tim or somebody if you want it. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Kim posted the schedule. Marianne Tuesday, Danny Wednesday, except for temporarily she's not doing it Wednesday. Evelyn Thursday, Friday me, which is Kim. Oh, you're doing Fridays, Kim? Heather's not doing it, or just this Friday. And then Saturday, our friend Cindy. So that's the schedule. All right. Bye, guys. Tai Tien, did I say it right? I will see you next week. A schedule. Wow, this is quite official. It is, Tim. It is. If you want to join our schedule, you can. Maybe you could take Danny's temporarily till she comes back on Wednesdays. Heather doesn't want to do it anymore. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Bye, guys. And Tim, maybe you could sub for me if I ever can't do it then. All right. Bye, guys. Tai Tien. Bye.